Griffiths has got proper long arms.
Dude, I've got goosebumps thinking about it, you know.
And they're cancelling and getting sued for 10 million.
Why aren't you being beaten up? I thought you were dead, and they're just like, nope.
Wise fools.
Hello there everyone, and welcome to the Wise Fools Talks podcast, episode 4. I'm joined here with my brethren, Griffiths. How are you doing, Griffiths?
Yo, doing pretty well, and yourself, dude?
I've been doing alright. This week it started off terrible, but the week finished really strong. Sometimes it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish, I suppose, and it finished well. Hey, the first topic we're going to talk about is, do you know homeless people, how they've sort of got designated spots? They get quite territorial over them, dude, and I didn't really realise.
Aye, I've seen a couple of them kicking off before up Northumbrian Street and that, like.
Aye.
Saying fucking, oh, I'm in this spot every day now, you've came and took it, and it's the best spot, and I'll go sit 20 metres down the road. It's like, surely it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Aye, right. Mate, do you know what it is? I also thought that at one time. But however, I do imagine, there's two prime spots. There's one which I didn't know about until someone told us about it. But there's another one just in my head, is outside Greg's.
Aye.
If you can manage to secure a spot as a homeless guy outside Greg's, the bakery, I think you're fucking sorted, because it not only just the general change, people sort of think, I'm not going to give them money in case they're going to buy drugs or something, but he has a sausage roll, he has a coffee, and all that shit, you know what I mean?
Aye, exactly, aye.
There's that, but I heard that there's the holy grail on Northumbrian Street of the homeless spot, right? And there's this guy that's had this spot for fucking years, and he holds down the fort like no one will ever get that spot. He doesn't leave it, and that's because it's outside the Phoenix, because
I know the bit you mean.
it's sort of covered indoors, so even if he didn't have a tent or anything like that, he's sort of covered, the rain, see if you got a hole in his tent, it's not really a big issue because it's under the cover anyways. But it's also got a 240 standard house plug, but on the outside for some reason, so he's just got free electric, dude.
Right. That's crazy.
I know, dude, so he's got a PR radio and a fucking heater and shit like that. It's the holy grail of homeless spots, dude.
I haven't seen that,
But not only that, right, dude, there's Phoenix is sort of Newcastle's answer to Harrods, isn't it? So
it's a posh shop,
it's I mean, it's nothing on Harrods. So Harrods is one of them where it's just anything, but just for rich people. You can just get gold-plated axes and shit like that in there.
Right.
Just silly novelty things that rich people buy when they're bored and they've got too much money, I suppose. A couple of them be oh, I'll just give you some loose change. She has fucking 20 quid or something. That's just, you're bound to get at least one a week, aren't you?
Right.
Whether she has 20 quid. And I mean 20 quid a week in one go for a homeless person's fucking, you know what I mean?
It's aye.
No, it's proper shocking when they do all these anti-homeless on the benches and shit like that.
Aye, when they put the handrail down the middle so you cannot lay across it, or the spots in shop doorways where they put loads of spikes down and that so you cannot fucking lay on them and that.
Shocking as fucking it, dude. The very little that the very little that these people have, they're taking more from them. It's just
yeah.
There's no need, is there?
Well, we need to tackle the homeless problem and that, and it's well, that's not the way to go about it. You're not making them any less homeless, you're just giving them less places to go.
Nah. I wonder how much it actually costs to put in these anti-homeless sort of things. Could they not just contribute that money in towards something that's going to help the homeless?
Yeah, I don't know how much it costs, but I bet less than building a house, which is why they've gone for that option, I'd assume.
I can see that, but it's probably more than you think as well, though.
Right. It won't be cheap because they're drilling them into the fucking concrete and all that, you know what I mean?
And I mean
and these spikes are specially made just for that as well, which is what factory's doing that, you know what I mean? And then sleeping soundly at night.
It's not great, it's standard people. Who's it helping to us? I don't give a shit if there's a homeless guy there.
Aye, right.
What's the problem, mate? It's only a very few people that are going to be proper annoyed by it. Maybe it's just tackle homelessness. You know what I mean? Oh, dude, right? There was this one time, I went to the McDonalds drive-thru in Ashington, right, dude? There was this guy, right? He was in front of us and he put his order in, but he was was just sitting there for ages, right? And like I noticed, like I see, like, do you know, in like sort of like his like wing mirrors, like he had his camera and he was videoing me, but through like the sort of thingy.
What, like through the mirror?
So his camera was sort of pointing to the mirror, and then so it was like so obviously the mirror was reflecting it back to me. So like but I knew straight away he's going on, thinking I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, hurry up, sort of thing. I wish I knew what he done with this video, cause I'm one of them where like I was at work, so it's not like I was in a mad hurry anyways. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was just on my lunch break, so I was just sort of like, he's wanting me to kick off, so I'm just gonna be like, so I was just going, yeah, just chilling out, like fucking like just checking me phone and looking at me watch and just going on, like I just did not care about it.
Right.
But I probably want to see what he was like doing with it, but I hope he was gutted, you know, that I wasn't
Right, falling for the bait kind of thing.
Aye, I kind of feel like the only person who time he really wasted was his. I probably want to see the footage though. That's the only annoying thing. Like I never got to see what he got. You know what I mean?
Right. You'll have to give him a show next time and fucking get it fucking up on YouTube and that.
Aye, right. I might put it on like the Ashington's Getting Worse page or something. See, like if you're the guy at that drive-through and like you see this, I want to see the footage if you've still got it. I just want to see it. You know what I mean? I want to see how it turned out. I mean, it was like a working day. If he didn't work, then obviously he's going to be fucking bored, like going to McDonalds in a highlight of your week sort of thing. But if he did work and he was doing that on his day off, get a hobby or something, man. Like, you know?
Kind of fucking pathetically. It's Max. I didn't think that shit was going on over here yet, you know what I mean? You see a lot of it from America and that, and it's like, that's just Americans, but I didn't think it was going on over here, and I'm ashamed to know that it is, especially that locally.
How do you think you would have reacted, dude?
I don't know. I kind of don't really like public conflict, you know what I mean? So I probably wouldn't have made a scene anyway. If I knew that he was like trying to bait us into causing a scene to try and fucking put some shit online or something, then I definitely would have just chilled out, maybe gave him a thumbs up out the window and that, you know what I mean? Oh, big order, pal. I
wish I sort of like got out the car raging and then like just knocked on his window, and then when he wound it down, geek like this with his phone, geek, look at this, I scanned me class. I'd be like, yeah, mate, I got lighter, mine just ran out. It's pure good. I'm pure raging. And then pure get a light off and then just sit back in my car and just be like, you know what I mean?
Right.
If I'm in a drive-through, dude, like I can't wait to just get me things and go. And it was just me and him in the queue as well, you know, dude, like, which is rare for like any McDonald's ever.
It's usually like 5 or something at least.
So he missed an opportunity to just get in and out, like.
It's a fucking piss take that, like. It's good that you didn't fall for his fucking trap, like. So it sounds like he's definitely trying to bait you into fucking causing some commotion, like.
Like, do you know what it is? It did cross me head. I was just gonna be like, and just be like, oh, you want to record this sort of thing, and just punch his like wing mirror off or something. But I was just sort of like, nah, like he's already recording it, so he's just gotta either he's gonna be some proper roughneck that's just gonna like rag us around like an empty tracksuit, and then that's gonna be on video. Or he's just gonna be like, oh, police! I was just waiting for me food, and this guy just punched me wing mirror off for no reason. You know?
I was just sitting here in the drive-thru blocking it for half an hour, and this guy's getting raging for nothing.
No, what I was like, I actually went through my head as well. I was going to, since it was just me and him, I was just going to reverse and go, but then go through the wrong end of the drive-thru and just block him.
Right, dude, that would have been funny, ass.
And just be like, oh, I'm just going to the toilet, and Pierre waddle off like, oh, I need the toilet 1 minute.
Just fucking trot off into the distance in search of some bushes to piss in or something.
Go trigger Happy TV where he's like got that thing, so he looks like this part fat guy, and he's like going down the alleyway like that, like a part tight alley. And the person's like sort of like coming up to him and then starts like going, well, I'm obviously not going to get past him, so I've got to go out. But then another one comes through on the other side. Check out Happy TV was legendary, dude.
Oh, it was pretty good,
I
used to like what Jackass did with it, where they'd dress Wee Man and Preston Lacey up the same, and they'd like send one of them into the porta potty and the other one would come out. Like they'd send Preston in, the big fat guy, and then fucking you know, but he's all making all these sounds like he's having this massive shit and that, and then Wee Man comes out and he's like just fucking tiny but in the same clothes and that, everyone's just looking like, what the fuck? Like,
Right. Shrubs at CNA used to love Trigger Happy TV. It was class.
yeah, it was good. Like,
No, dude, like-
his fucking giant phone and that. In the library!
You know what is he like come back, because like the problem with Trigger Happy TV is he got like too recognizable, so he couldn't do it anymore. But then like with it being in the 90s, I think he probably come back like around 2014 to 16, because obviously people had forgotten about him, and then he was doing it again, and it wasn't as good, but it was classic. He kept doing this thing where he was like everything was a cycle lane, like he was behind a library and he was like, it's a cycle lane, and it's like, it's not a cycle lane, it's a library. But people on the I hate cyclists, like.
Do you remember that one? I don't know why we used to crease at it so much, but there was one I remember that we used to fucking howl at Martin's all the time, where he was like standing in a field dressed as a snowman and he'd fucking lob a snowball off people walking past early in the morning.
And then just go back like normal.
He's just standing still, and then fucking everyone's like looking around like, yeah, where the fuck did that come from?
I love that one where it's literally like the song where there's just some businessman in London like walking down the street, and then just everyone like just starts running towards him. Imagine just minding your own business.
Right.
Anyways, before we sort of go on to the next bulletin, we're all going to have a minor delay for our first ever comedy episode, but we're all going to announce it though. It's called Raj History. It's basically a comedy take on the history of our local area. Essentially, my phone camera is good enough to do it, but all of a sudden, since my phone contract's up, the phone company's tingling around going, oh, you gotta be SIM only there, not on my watch. Then they're doing this. Doing this, hooking us back in to try and do another one as soon as, because it was fine.
It's because you got an iPhone as well, and Apple are notorious for that. Fucking there's a term for it. I don't know, schedule redundancy or something.
Aye.
But like when they put out an update, like say I don't know how many iPhones we're up to now, iPhone 27 or something. So when they bring the iPhone 28 out, they're going to bring an update out for the 27 that makes it run like absolute shit. So everyone's like, oh, I've got to go and spend £2 million on my new iPhone.
The thing is, though, there is certain ones that like sort of survive the purge. Like you'll be able to buy like fully working fine, like way older phones than what I've got. But I think they generally just sort of do it, so it's like 65% of them don't work. So there's just enough of them. Like it doesn't make it suspicious, because there's going to be enough people going, well, mine's fine, had it 5 years, fine. You don't look after them or something. You know what I mean? And I definitely think the PlayStation 2 done that one, to brought out the Slim 100%. Like two weeks after it got announced, mine stopped like working.
Aye, but it's just too big of a coincidence, isn't it?
Aye, but you can buy ones that are still today that work. Like I think when I started building up my retro game collection, I bought the original PlayStation. I've never had any issues with it. So that must have been one of the sort of 45% or whichever one sort of survived the purge. But that being said, once I do sort of update my phone, we're going to we've already got the script wrote. We're going to be releasing comedy episodes. If you haven't already, please give us a subscribe. It's really early days, so any comment or even a minute watch time, eternally grateful for it. Like, it's really early days, and YouTube is such a hard nut to crack, but I think we will do it, especially with the comedy episodes. Like, we've got some mint ideas. We just need to sort of get the following going and the funds to get it happening. And once we reach that out, it's going to be epic. We've got some class ideas, haven't we, Gray?
I reckon that's going to be our best sort of outlet, is the episodes, like the sort of pre-recorded, pre-edited stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Did you ever do garden hopping, dude?
Sometimes just for a laugh, because I don't know, when you're a kid, you always seem to be like, I don't know, getting into bother to try to get a chase and run away. You know what I mean? And he just used to leaping over people's fences and that, through the back gardens and running through fields and that.
Aye, I only ever done it the once, and it was one of them where I could get over, but I couldn't get back over, and there was a dog there, and it was going absolutely mental. I was like, oh my god, I'm stuck in this garden forever, dude. It was just an absolute nightmare. But I only ever done it the once, but I sort of look back and I was like, what was the point? You know what I mean? Have you got any epic garden hopping stories?
Not really. I kind of wish we had Connor on as a guest star, because I know he's got one, but I can't remember what it is. So I can't tell on his behalf. But strangely enough, I've had a ton of dreams where I've done it. And sort of in recent years as well, I'll be having a dream and it's just I've got to walk from here down to Jarrah or something like that. And I'll just take a shortcut through someone's garden, or sometimes through their house even. But then I'll get halfway through, I'll just let myself in the front door, and I'll get halfway through the house, and then I'm like, shit, I'm in someone else's house, I've got to be pure stealthy in that, you know what I mean?
Aye.
And it's well, why did I go in the first place instead of just walking down the street like a normal person?
It was kind of mad, I only ever done it the once, and that was sort of enough for me. I'd like to see if anyone in the chat has this sort of thing. I know you mentioned dreams there. Have you ever had a fight in your dream, but it's as if you're just going like that to them? But you feel as if
I'll be putting me full force into I'll be doing the hardest punches I can possibly do, and it's just having no effect on them, you know what I mean? I might as well just be punching a marshmallow or something.
It's so annoying, dude.
Gets you raging, doesn't it? Because you're why aren't you being beaten up? I'm beating you up, why aren't you being beaten up?
I've had it where I've literally been laughing at this as I've been hitting them, and I'm I feel I'm putting the absolute me full might. The might of Almighty God is in these, but they're just what you doing? And something saying all the time. It's something holding back your arms. It's almost like a space fight, isn't it?
Right, so you're underwater or something.
But they're not. It's only affecting you.
But it's I'll probably get the better of them, and I'll be on top of them in full mount or whatever they call it in UFC. We're giving the fucking ground and pound. So they're just unfazed by it, and it's embarrassing, to be honest. You know what I mean? Because there's people watching you trying to punch this guy, and you're just having no effect. And you're trying to give it your fucking full might, and the harder you try, the stupider you look.
Right. Have you ever had a lucid dream, dude?
Not really, no.
There's this sort of step into being able to have one. You sort of train your brain into realizing whether you're in a dream or not. In your dreams, you don't at that very moment in time, even though you really should realize you're in a dream, you don't. But as soon as you realize that you're in a dream, you can just do whatever the hell you want. You can fly around and stuff, you know what I mean? Because it's a dream. Basically, what you do is, do you know how when you wake up, you forget your dream instantly?
Yeah.
What you do is you wake up and while it's still fresh in your head, you write it down, and then once it's written down, you can sort of remember it because it's there in front of you. You know what I mean? And then that sort of trains your brain into sort of being able to tell the difference between a dream and reality. And I've only ever managed to realize I'm in a dream once, and it just took a turn for the worse instantly. I was oh, what? I'm in a dream. And I started just trying flying about. Then instantly, loads of horrible, nasty things started to happen. Scary. Just, I can't even remember what it was to describe it, but it was petrifying. And I remember saying to myself, abort mission, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And then I was in sort of this twilight zone where the dream had stopped. I felt I was regaining control on my body, but everything was just black. I was trying to open my eyes, but I could feel myself moving, in bed, sort of trying to get up. And then eventually, I regained control of my body, opened my eyes, and then, sort of woke up, and I was nah, I'm just proper devastated, because it seems proper cool. Everyone has, good experiences doing it, and as soon as I do it, it puts us off forever. It's just, it was horrible.
Fucking, it's probably just some mad fears in the back of your head that you never thought of coming to the front.
Right. It was
I'd recommend probably not doing hallucinogenics ever if that's the case.
No, but I proper do though. I proper do.
I mean, go for it if you want, but after what you've just said about that, you're gonna have a bad trip.
I think
Fucking, it's mad with dreams though, right? Because there's things that happen to me in my dreams where I should proper realise, like, this isn't real. Like, I'll be talking to, like, family members who died, like, years ago, and I'll be like, oh, I thought you were dead, and they're just like, nope. I'm like, oh, alright then. And just crack on as if it's normal, you know what I mean? And it's like, fucking, I should realise, you know, like, this person doesn't exist anymore. Like, this is just my imagination, I'm asleep, I'm dreaming. But I never do, I just accept it as being normal.
It's sort of mad, but once you sort of like break that barrier, like that's when you can sort of do it. Shubs is also saying, yeah, I used to try lucid dreaming back in the day. How did it go for you, dude? Did you manage to like finally have one, or and if you did, like how did it go? I'd be interested to sort of see how like other people's experiences with it. Like Vampire good at that, mine didn't work, or it did work, but in a bad way. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I'd even want to do it. I used to think I wanted to do it, but it's like at the same time, my dreams are fucking mental, dude, and it's kind of like I like them because it's like entertainment, and I don't want to be in charge of that. I just want to sit back and enjoy it.
Aye, like I feel like if you've got full control over it and it doesn't go bad, it is amazing. Cause it was alright at the start, like I was pure flying about, like I've never experienced like having superpowers up until then. Yeah, there was bits I could control, but at the same time I was still going along with the story, or I was on a ride, if you get what I mean. Aye, like sort of.
You mean, like it's like one of them games where you've got like dialogue options, you know what I mean? But it's all along the same linear path. But when you get to a guy, it's like you can choose option A or option B, and you go left or right, kind of thing.
I kind of feel that would be sort of better. Like you can control yourself and do things that you wouldn't already be able to do, but at the same time, there's unexpected plots.
Me unconscious imagination can come up with way better stuff and way more interesting and entertaining stuff than me conscious imagination can, so I'm just going to sort of leave the dreams under control of that side of it, like, and just sort of enjoy it.
Like I'm scared of it now. Like maybe it's one like I'll sort of like get the courage again to try it again, man. I think I need a little cool down period before I do, like, because it was ages ago as well. Like I'm sure it was like last year sometime. I'm seeing a lot of things at the moment about do you know Squidward off SpongeBob, dude? Like people are like, when I was a kid I used to like hate Squidward and all that, but like as an adult, like I'm sort of like seeing where he's coming from and things like that. And I started to like revisit it, and although I can understand that SpongeBob and Patrick would be annoying, like I do think he's a massive dick still, like.
Oh, aye, without a doubt, dude. There's much better characters to relate to in that sense. Like for me, for example, as a kid I used to hate Principal Skinner on The Simpsons, but now he's probably one of my favourite characters. Like, I don't know, because obviously, like, when you're a kid, like, you're on Bart's side, and then when you grow up, you're like, actually, Bart's a little bastard. Like, I can fully understand why this guy's giving him the business, you know what I mean?
Aye, right. Like, it's sort of like, I've done things to be a little arsehole while I was a kid. There was one time, like, a bus stopped on Hedgley Road, and I chucked a water balloon inside while the doors was open, and I'd be like, hey, you little bastard, but obviously I was the one doing that as a kid. If I wasn't the one that got splashed, I'd be like, you little bastard, but I would be kind of be like, well, belt at the same time. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be like, I think I'm sort of on the fence now. I'm not as much of a hypocrite to be like, I can't believe he's done that when I was literally doing exactly the same thing. But I'd be like, I can sort of see where they're coming from. Like I'm soaking on the bus now, like it's an ego.
Aye, right. Like I'd be raging if I was the one that got hit with that, like. But if it happened to someone else, I'd probably be laughing.
Aye, right. That thing I said on a quiz show, and it's like, what is the name of Homer and Marge Simpson's only son? And the guy's like, Tony Blair.
What the fuck?
Have you seen it, dude?
No.
Why would you think Tony Blair?
Aye, right. He doesn't even have parents. He was just like sculpted to be a terrible politician.
Do you know what it is, dude? It's weird because, like, although, like, I'm not really that clued up with politics now as an adult, right? For some reason, like, I thought I liked him for some reason as a kid while he was in power. I mean, like, obviously the whole Iraq and Afghanistan thing was, like, terrible. He shouldn't have done that. But apparently he's, like, a war criminal. Like, it was an illegal war, apparently.
Right. I don't know much about that. Like, he was a funny looking cunt. I used to like when he was on the TV, because I used to sit and laugh at him when he's fucking big giant years and that.
Aye, right. Looking like a gauntlet and that. Not a gauntlet,
Aye,
a
right.
goblet.
Aye. Or a big fucking trophy cup or something.
Aye, right. Do you know what it is? It's weird that you mentioned it, because I was talking to some guy, because like T brought in like the minimum wage. Like minimum wage wasn't a thing up until Tony Blair, I don't think. Which seems good. But I was talking to some guy like who had his own business. He had like a recycling plant sort of thing. And like all his lads were like sort of like, oh, you've got to pay us like the minimum wage now, and buzzing for it, right? And he was saying like, obviously I'm going to comply with the law. If it's minimum wage, I've got to pay it. But don't think that it's going to make your life better, because think about it, all these things that you're getting cheap, the price of them's could just go up now, because like the person like all the like sort of like low end jobs that are like everyday consumables, everyone's gonna have to pay them at least minimum wage now, so it's only going to end up costing you more. So it kind of was, it's sort of like that's another thing when you go on about things getting more expensive, it's like sort of like they put people's money up, but it like what they get paid, but then it's costing them more to produce something. So the price of that goes up, so it sort of just goes round in a vicious circle, you know what I mean?
It's one of them things that's sort of designed to look good to you, you know what I mean? So you think you're getting a good deal, but actually you're still just getting ripped off the same as you were before. Like it's sort of, you know, a loaf of bread's always going to be the same cost of like a percentage of your minimum wage kind of thing, you know what I mean? Rather than like, I don't know, they'll go up sort of together. Like you'll never get a pay rise and stuff will be cheaper. It'll always be like, oh, you've got more money, but stuff's more expensive now, so you're no better off. You just think you are.
It's sort of just like throwing the dog like a pretend bone, isn't it, I suppose? Mm-hmm. I like when people are sort of saying that they're sort of related to Squidward, I try to sort of revisit it, and I still thought it was a massive dig. But don't get us wrong, like I'd be proper raging at SpongeBob if I was on SpongeBob. I don't think I could tolerate it. Like it was weird, because like SpongeBob was a strange character, because like he was really intelligent and nerdy in some respects, but then in other respects he was a total idiot.
I also couldn't tell, right? Like, is he like 8 years old or is he like 28 years old? Because
Right.
he can't on like a pure child, but
he's
he
got
works
a
in a
job.
fucking eye.
Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because there was a bit where like now when he sort of gets his driving license and he's like way older than what people expect.
Aye, right. I'm sure there's one episode as well where it mentions him being like in his early 20s or something.
According to SpongeBob's license, he was born in 1986.
Fucking hell, so he's like 38 now. If
Aye.
it was a sort of continual timeline, which it isn't, but what year did SpongeBob come out first?
I'm sure it was like the 90s or something. But obviously, it come out in 1999.
Right.
So, doesn't that make him like fucking 14 in the first episode?
Aye, 13, 14, aye.
That's kind of mad, that, like, because I wouldn't put it Mr. Krabs a higher child labour, though.
If you think that's weird, you should try looking into the fucking Simpsons timelines, dude. I mean, now in the recent ones, they've got it where like Homer and Marge were in college in the fucking 90s. And it's like the first episode came out in 1989 and they were already 40 odd.
To be fair, I try not to like give them grief for that, because if I had a TV show going for that long, I'd pure forget all these details as well. The Simpsons, it's weird because I used to love that as a kid, but I don't really like it now. Oh, dude, do you know that no episode, even as a kid, I used to switch off as soon as it come on?
Which one's that?
Like the one where it's like, hi, I'm Troy McClure. I'd be like, right, nah, there's gotta be a terrible episode. I hated them episodes. I hated them.
Like, I know what you mean by that, because it's the ones where it's the clip shows in it where they're just revisiting old episodes and stuff like that.
Well, I think doesn't it sort of review the season?
Sometimes or sometimes even more than that, because they don't do one every season. I think the first one happened in like season 4 or 5. I used to hate them episodes as well, and even now they do me head in, because it's like I've watched every episode 100 times. I don't need to watch an episode where I'm watching the other episodes again, you know what I mean? But I do like the episodes where Troy McClure shows up and says all that stuff, like, but where it's still a story episode. He's just in it for a bit. He's not like
he's like a character in it. Aye.
Pretty sure the first one they did, the episode title was like, so it's come to this, a Simpsons clip show.
Aye.
Even they were sort of ashamed to be doing it, but then they did it like 100 times.
Aye, and I don't know if this ever happened to you, dude. Have you ever been, like, someone's done sort of like a fake thing as if something's coming out, and it looks legit, and you think it's legit, then you find out it's not real?
It has happened. I can't remember any particular examples, but I know I've fell for it before, and that's why I don't fall for anything now.
Aye.
Like when you say all these things about like, oh, this has been fucking leaked about GTA 6, or fucking, oh, Bully 2 fucking map confirmed and all this. Like, I don't believe any of it. I'll believe it when the fucking game actually comes out.
Aye, when it gets announced off the actual developer. I'm like that with games, but at the same time, like, it's because I know who the developers are with games. Like, especially with TV shows, like, all of a sudden Netflix will just own this thing, like, all of a sudden, and then it'll come back. So, like, with TV shows, I'm sort of more gullible. And there's one that I fell for, which was we're going to, like, sort of do the never-ending story, which I was proper buzzing about. But then that was short-lived. It got debunked straight away, and I was like, rapscallion sort of thing.
Right.
But there was the one that broke, like, it generally broke me heart. There was something got announced called Peach Creek, which is I don't know if you remember, which is the like fictional place where Ed Nettie is set.
Alright.
And it's like a trailer where Ed Nettie are in, do you know, the van used to like sort of chill out in the junkyard.
Aye.
It was them, but they were sort of like late teenagers, and they get the van started. I was like, oh my god! And that was it sort of getting announced, but it was fake. I was like, for fuck's sake!
Right, that's a piss take.
Aye, and now because, dude, I'd be all for that, you know. They done that with the Rugrats, but it was called All Grown Up, where they were teenagers, and I loved it as a kid.
Aye.
Like, it would proper work with Ed and Eddie, like. Don't know, this has probably been done before, but I've never seen it. But do you know how, like, sort of Ed and Eddie was our era? And we're all, like, in our late 20s now. What would be perfect is if it's like, well, this is, like, sort of, like, the people who, like, watch Ed and Eddie back in the day. Like, they're all adults now, so now we should make them adults or older, but make it an adult cartoon because they're all adults now. Like, I think that would work perfect, and I was proper hyped for it, dude, and it was fake.
It real, like.
It was really well made as well. Like, it looked legit, and I was furious about it, like.
Aye, right. I would have been as well.
Do you know how, like, obviously, like, my eyesight's terrible and my hearing's terrible, dude?
Aye.
Like, my sense of smell is good because it's sort of like, not how, like, if someone's blind, the hearing's mint. I've got that with me sense of smell. With us having, like, a mint sense of smell, like, it's hard to explain for someone who hasn't got a really good sense of smell. If you close my eyes and my dad come in from work but didn't say nothing, I know what my dad smells like at work, so I would know it's my dad. But, like, say if just some random builder come in, I would know that wasn't me dad, sort of thing. Like, you know what I mean? I can just sort of identify people by the smells and what they were doing before that.
Actually, like, I have the same thing as well, where, like, say, for example, my ma, I can tell just by the smell when she comes in the house if it's been raining outside.
Aye, especially summer rain as well. It's, like, quite pondy, isn't it?
Almost, aye. It's sort of fresh in a way.
But with us, like, having that sense of smell, what happened the other day, dude, like, and it got us scared, like, I was just working completely on my own, by the way, so no one else was there. It was as if my dad was standing behind us, but as if he'd been at work, I could smell, and I turned around and no one was there. And instantly I was trying to ring my dad, thinking something had happened to him, and he was sort of revisiting us as a ghost, dude. It was that vivid.
Right. That's
It was like, it was as if he'd, like, it was as if my dad just died and he was, like, basically coming to tell us, sort of thing. Like, I've been at work, something bad happened to us, I'm here to say bye, sort of thing. It was as if he was doing that as a ghost. I was like, trying to ring me dad, can't fuck me, and it wouldn't work. But obviously nothing happened. Me dad's fine, by the way. But it was scary, man. It was weird.
Yeah, I think it's called olfactory memory, where, like, sort of certain smells, I'll just get it like a random whiff of something, and it reminds us of, like, a game I was playing when I was, like, 10, when I smelt the same smell.
Yeah, I love it. It's weird. It's like a tripped out memory lane, isn't it, dude?
Aye.
It is mad, like, but I love it. But I didn't love that. Like, it was mad. Like, it was weird because there was nothing there that could have sort of explained the smell, why I thought it was a ghost. Like, fair enough, if there was another guy there, and I was like, oh, he smells like me dad after me dad's been at work. but there was no one else there, and obviously I work outside, so like it was weird, and I didn't like it because it come, I noticed it, and it went.
Aye,
and
it was just like a quick thing.
Aye, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I generally stood up and behind this because, like, obviously it happened in seconds, but my brain so processed it as if my dad's trying to sneak up on us to give us a fright. Dude, it was mental.
Right.
Oh, dude, I was thinking about the time. Can you remember when we used to go fishing down the Tyne, dude? Can you remember? There was a guy going round on a jet ski, which was like Charma, sort of like around where we live, or if like the Bogans for the Australian viewers. Like they love motorbikes, but which I like motorbikes myself, so I don't mind that Charma's like that. But jet skis, right? I just don't understand it. Like
especially in the Tyne.
I mean, don't get us wrong, I would have a quick shot of one, but I wouldn't feel cool on a jet ski.
I wouldn't go out and spend grand on one either.
Aye,
like,
me
I'd have a
neither.
blast on someone else's, but I wouldn't be getting me own. I'm not asked about. I wouldn't be like, oh yes, I want to be fucking James Bond on this, me.
Aye, like Shubs are saying in the chat, like Bogans love the jet skis as well. It's kind of more acceptable in Australia, I can imagine.
Aye, at least you got decent weather and nice beaches and that, you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking shite, yeah.
Because obviously we live on the coast of the North Sea. I could understand it more if they'd done it in the sea, but even still I'd be like, you think you're class, don't you? And you're not.
Aye, right.
But in the time.
Do you remember fucking, what's it called as well? Do you remember Bullseye? Where they'd have someone on who lived in the top of a fucking tower block in Birmingham and that, and then they'd be like, you've won a speedboat. It's like, oh mint, what the fuck am I gonna do with that?
And you noticed on Bullseye, right, dude, when it was what they could have won, it was always a caravan or a car, but if they actually did win, it was always a boat or a jet ski.
Right.
But I like these people up here tearing it up around the Tyne, and like, fair enough, I don't think it's cool. I don't think you're cool doing it, but if you're gonna do it, fine. But you can clearly see we're fishing. Dude, you've got the whole river, and you can see us fishing, and you can tell they're like, oh man, look at me, I'll go. No, them people fishing, I bet they'll think I'm pure class if I go over there. And we're like, you're a Doylem. I remember turning out you and going, yeah, dude, he's going to scare the fish. I don't know if it would. I can imagine it would. I don't think the fish are going to be like, mint. I think they would be scared if they seen it. But I don't know if
fish
it would.
thought he was cool as fuck, man. They're like, hey, look at that guy on a fucking jet ski.
Like I could imagine like it would scare them, but I didn't know if it would. But I remember turning around to you and going, yeah, they're gonna scare the fish, start chucking stuff at them, right? So Grievous was like sort of pick up bricks, like, and obviously Grievous has got proper long arms. So he was behind like a trebuchet arm, right? But it looked as if, like, the way he was showing it, looked like it was going to go far as fuck. Like I was past scared in case you hit the other side of the river and walk out or something, dude. But I went nowhere near the fucking, it barely fucking splashed.
Aye, because the fucking river's wide as fuck, dude. Like, it doesn't look it looks about 10 foot across or something, like you could jump it. But then when you actually go to it's like fucking, I don't know how wide it really is, but it's pretty fucking wide, and the guy was a lot further away. And I knew I wasn't going to hit him, I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere near him, I just wanted him to know that I was pissed off, and I kind of wanted him to come closer, you know what I mean? Like,
but he was just looking at you, like, as in to go, alright then. But I was I was proper hoping he'd try and like put a Normandy landing works. He'd be like, well, the bricks are going to hit you now, you fool.
Exactly, that's what I was hoping for now.
But he, like, it was just so annoying 'cause he was just like still doing it. But it was part funny because the way you think I was what I expect, I was like, oh my god.
Knocking down fucking walker flats and that.
Aye, right. When something happened, also was always down the Tyne as well.
Aye, we used to spend some time down there, like.
I like it, like, I don't know why. Like,
it's fucking, I don't know, it's the closest we've got to a bit of fucking scenery around here.
Aye, right. Like, remember that time where like camping out where you says to like your grandparents that you were stopping at my house and I'd done the same to yours, and we went camping down the Tyne and got took home by the police.
I was pissed off at them coppers though, you know, because fucking, like, they dropped you off and they were like, oh, you've got your key, you can just go in and all this. I didn't have a key. We got like almost to my house, and they were like, oh, if you, it was during the Six Nations at the time. I'd actually watched the rugby in the morning because there was fuck all else to do. Like, I hate sport, but I sat and watched it. And they're like, oh, fuck, if you can tell where the fucking score from this morning, we'll let you out here. And I was like, oh, which game? The fucking England-Italy or whatever. And they were like, aye. And I was like, oh, it was such and such. And they were like, oh, aye, aye. And then just carried on, took us to my house, brain on the door and that, trying to wake me ma up. And I kept telling them, like, look, my ma's in bed, she's a heavy sleeper. You're wasting your own time trying to wake her up. Me nana just lives down the road. She's going to be awake anyway because she's got insomnia, so just fucking take us there. And he sort of turned to the other one, like, I've got a feeling he'd rather go there. He's like, yeah, yeah. And then just carried on braying on the door.
Aye, and I done little and do out. Like, I mean, we're not the biggest fan of the polis, anyways. You look back at these sort of things and like, I can understand.
Why kind of thing.
To be fair, because the only thing that we actually done wrong is because we had a fire.
Mm-hmm.
So I could kind of understand that, but other than that, we didn't really do anything wrong.
I mean, even then, right, we had a fire in an enclosed bush and still managed to have it controlled, though. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't burn ourselves down. And I know they don't see it that way because they just go, oh, there's a fire in the bush, let's fucking get these out of here.
The way they went about that, it's harassment in a way. Like,
it's just being dickheads for no reason, you know what I mean?
Like, do you know what I don't understand? Like, remember when the first going, they were like, who's in there? And you were like, oh, me. And then they were going on like, you're an idiot, as in to say, well, that was your answer. Well, what did they think they were going to say? Oh, we're a terrorist organisation, you've got to.
Aye, right. Or did they want us to rattle off me name and home address and
aye, and our blonde hair, blue eyes. These are me.
Fucking birth certificate and
aye, blood type and that.
Mm-hmm. I think it was one of their fucking colleagues or something. Oh, it's Officer Johnson. Fucking.
Aye, and
just chilling in this bush, having some bongs and that.
Ah, nah. Who's there? Did he expect what was that? Surely it was a rhetorical question. Asked it in such a way that, like they wanted an answer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Because we still, like, I didn't answer, like, immediately. There was a bit of silence for, like, 5-10 seconds, and then I just, like, I felt like I had to say something.
I know, like, oh, it's just me.
Right. But if I told them my name, they would have been like, well, who the fuck's that?
Ah, nah. Like, it was a lose-lose, wasn't it?
Proper. Like, there was no right answer to that question.
The other rad thing that happened to us down the TYNE as well was that we definitely heard a pterodactyl there. Like, I'm telling you now, it was mad. Like,
I was like sitting there on this hill. So you've got the river, and then this big sort of grassy hill up the side. We're sitting chilling on the hill in the middle of the night. From the other side of the river, there's just this mad fucking, like, proper dinosaur-style screech. From the air as well, like, it sounded like it was up high. And we're looking around in the sky and can't see anything, and then, like, maybe 30 seconds to a minute later, we heard the same noise, like, from behind us. So either it was one of them that was, like, fast as fuck that got from that side of the river to behind us and did the same noise again. Or it was two of them, one over one side of the river and one behind with, like, a call and response type thing. But it was whatever crazy. It was freaky. Like, I've never heard that noise before or since. I remember
turning around to you and being like, what the fuck was that? And, like, I remember you saying, like, you didn't like trees in the dark, like, it creeped you out or something. So you were already on edge, and I was like, I love it. Like, it's cool, so it's like pure adventuring. Like, I love it. But I remember turning around to you being like, whoa, what was that? And you were being like, whoa, I don't know. And then it called back. Oh, it was the same thing, but it was really quick. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Do you know where you sort of like...
Dude, I've got goosebumps thinking about it, you know, like, put myself back in that place.
Can you remember, like, where I turned around to you being like, did that really just happen? And you sort of confirmed it, but, like, we're sort of, like, in the mindset where it was like, maybe we're both wrong somehow. But then it happened again. We're like, well, we definitely heard it because the same things just happened again. It was creepy. Like, the biggest, like, eagle or whatever, like an American bald eagle or something, that didn't make that as big of a sounding thing.
Like, it was loud. Like I say, we heard it from the other side of the river, you know what I mean?
It didn't seem bird-like, though. That's why I generally think it's like the last pterodactyl ever.
Right.
Like, it wasn't a bird.
If that's it, you know, people are like, oh, if you die and you get to meet God and ask him one question, I might ask him, like, what the fuck was that sound I heard when they spent that time down the thing?
Imagine people say, oh, it was just me, I was bored. Imagine if it was like some proper mythical creature that no one knows exists and we heard it.
Right.
That would be mental. But there's nothing to explain it though, dude, because like even like the biggest bird of prey that we've got in this country, like naturally in the wild, doesn't make that sound. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell? What the hell was it?
The first time we heard it, it must have been like at least a mile or two in front of her, and we heard it from there, and then it was behind her.
Aye.
But the second one was louder, like closer, like as if it was just over the sort of back of the field that we were on.
Aye, it was weird, like. And Shrubs are saying what you didn't see was a bunch of guys in biohazard suits chasing his Jeep, and that wouldn't surprise us, you know.
Right, but this, I mean, I had no chance. The speed of this fucker, like.
But that, I generally think it was two of them.
Yeah, it probably was, like.
Cause it would have to be pretty quick if it was the same
And we
one.
didn't see it. We had our eyes on the sky since the moment we heard the first one. We never seen anything flying overhead. And it was, from what I remember, it was a particularly clear night. There wasn't many clouds about and that.
I'll never forget that. Like, even when I'm decrepit dementia, I've been like, Grippers, what was it?
It bothers us that's going to stay unexplained for the rest of my life.
You know.
Like, I'm never going to have an answer for what that was.
Maybe it is kind of for the best, because maybe it was something like proper boring explanation that was like fabricated. It's way more interesting than what it actually was. Like, if we put like the logic hat on, right? Probably, like, if it does have an explanation, it isn't going to be as cool as the way we explain it. But like, what machine makes that noise? It wasn't a machine, it was a living thing.
It was definitely a natural noise.
Aye. And it's not like it was pure blasting out of a speaker or something, you know what I mean? And it was before drones.
Exactly. I mean, this was what?
Like 2009 maybe?
Like 10 to 15 years ago.
Aye, right. The next thing I've got to talk about is like, do you know how like people say that UK food's bad?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit defensive about it because I'm sort of like it's not though.
In a way I get what they're saying, but at the same time, like, it's what I've grown up on. It's me pride and joy, you know what I mean? Some fucking bangers and mash on mince and dumplings or whatever.
Aye, right. Imagine being an American and looking at mince and dumplings. It doesn't look nice, does it, dude? It looks nice to us.
Some of their shit. Like, have you seen what they call biscuits and gravy?
What?
It looks like a scone dipped in cat puke.
Aye, in fact, fuck. Oh, dude, gumbo? Like, this is the thing. Like, all the things that you consider good American food, none of it originates from America, so therefore isn't American. But the things that I have, like the things like fucking gumbo recipe, I have fucking seen it. It looks fucking disgusting. It originates from New Orleans.
Kinda doesn't surprise us, like, that's a pure swamp place, isn't it?
Aye, right. If you look at like their import of spicy foods is Mexican, right? And I'm not a big fan of Mexican food because they've just put beans and everything, and it's a no from us. But even if you take that away, it does kind of look nice, but at the same time, I don't understand why they go mental about it. Like, tacos are terrible.
I'm not a fan of tacos. Like I've had some nice burritos. Like, when do you remember when fucking they had that what was it called, Bazaar or something, the fucking World Buffet in the gate? I went there a couple of times, and like the main stations that never changed. It was always the same country. Like, you always had like a Chinese section, an Indian section, an American section, a Mexican section. And I went when they had a Mexican one there, and I was just up at the burrito bar all the time, telling this guy, "Oh, make us this and make us that. Just whatever you make us, don't put beans in." You know what I mean? I'm just getting like pork and cheese and sauce and stuff like that.
Like, our sort of like answer to a burrito is a kebab wrap. And I'd have one of them all day long before a burrito, dude.
Definitely.
But like I was saying before, like, they sort of like import of what they have as spicy food is Mexicans. Ours is Indian, and Indian's so much better.
I much prefer Indian food to Mexican food.
Like, they proper hate Indian food over there as well. It's from what I've heard, like, there's bound to be people that like it.
It does get slated on TV a lot, though. You know what I mean? Like, on there when you're watching shows and that, most of the times when they bring up Indian food, it's like insulting it or saying that you're gonna have diarrhea after it or whatever.
Indian food sort of caters to you more. Like, if you don't like spice, not a problem. Like, you can just have a korma or a chicken tikka.
It's more about the flavour of the spices rather than the heat.
There is sort of things that apparently even Indians don't eat. There's this thing called a fowl, which is just pure, like they've sort of made that for British people who think they can handle spice, and even the Indians are like it's silly, which I sort of agree. I think anything hotter than a madras is pointless.
See, I don't know how hot a madras is supposed to be, because like
it
I've really had
varies.
them from Balti's and they do it homemade, so like sometimes you get it and it's like pure tomato-y as fuck and like no spice whatsoever. And I'm not a big fan of tomatoes anyway, so I hate it when that happens. But like sometimes you get it and you take a bite and you instantly just like you got steam shooting out your ears, you're fucking dripping with sweat. Like
that's another problem with it as well. Like it varies how hot it is from where you get it as well. It's not like a consistent thing. I've had some madrasas that are like stupidly spicy, and I'm like, I can't enjoy it. Like it's too hot. But I've had another one, so I'm like, there's no kick to this at all.
Exactly.
My ideal madras, like it is like quite hot. It's mad because like people proper prefer Chinese food over here than Indian food, and I don't understand that.
There's a lot less for me to choose from with Chinese food. Like, I mean, they have a lot of variety, but just not that I personally like.
Yeah.
And then Japanese as well. Like, a lot of people are starting to go on about Japanese food these days and that, and it's like, I'm not a fan of fish, and the Japanese are the same way with fish as the Mexicans are with beans.
Do you know what it is as well? It's like, there's some things in Japanese food that I liked, and I kind of wish I never seen how it's made. They put like a load of shit in just for like the sort of broth, and then get rid of it. There was one of them, I think I seen it on Gordon Ramsay, where it was like, it's the cheapest 5-star Michelin thing in the world, and it's in Japan, and it's like a ramen place. I think it's called ramen. I didn't know. And you sort of see him making this broth, and then literally just dumping everything out of it. But it's got rotten cabbage in it, right, dude? And it's got raw fish and dried fish, and like this dried fish is like almost like a fish jerky, and it just looked disgusting.
It fucking sounds it, dude. That's,
but it probably was nice.
Be on my menu.
Like another thing as well is I don't like egg. Like I don't like the closest thing to egg I enjoy is mayonnaise. And like I probably don't like egg, and they put egg in a lot of shit in Chinese food and in Japanese food as well. Like they'll just randomly have like a half-boiled egg in it, and I'm like, you know what I mean?
There's this type of dessert that they make as well with a shitload of egg yolks, but I kind of want to try it because I do quite like. I'm not a big egg guy, but I do like the egg yolk. Like, it's the egg white that I don't like.
Yeah. Hey, Shubs are saying, yeah, concept, I'm a huge fan of Japanese food, as I'm not a huge seafood fan. Yeah, like, that's exactly what like, do you know what it is? I like fish and chips, right, dude? But I've got to proper be in the mood for fish, and even then I'd go for something else, like a battered sausage or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I've never really been a big fan of fish, like all my life. Like, I used to love seafood as a kid. Like, I used to like crab, and I used to like the little shellfish and the little jars of cockles that you get in the vinegar.
Yeah.
But fish itself, I've never been a fan of.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years ago, for a couple of weeks, I had this proper craving for fish and chips. So I fucking says to me granddad, because he was like, at this time, he was like just popping to the chip shop for his lunch sometimes, and that. So I was like, next time you go, grab us a fish and chips. And I ate the full thing, but it was disappointing. I'd built it up in my head that it was going to be this nice thing, and it just wasn't. And I still ate a lot. Like, it wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't pure disgusting. It was still, I could still sort of enjoy it, but not as much as I thought I was gonna.
Like, I had fish and chips once at work, and I don't know if I've never, like, this is the way it's always been done, and I've just noticed it. But I was pretty sure that, like, when you get fish and chips, it's like a fish fillet, and it's sort of like the fish, like, they descale it. And like, that's the only way I sort of like it. But this one, like, I bit into it. Like, I noticed something was odd with it, but it wasn't a bad thing. And I had a look, and the scales were still on, dude. And I was like, is it like that all the time? Because I don't think it is.
It's when you go to certain places, and it wouldn't have been the scales. They would have scraped the scales off. It just would have been the skin. I know what you mean. It is a bit strange, and it's like certain places do it different ways, where like certain places will skin them, or they'll get them pre-skinned, and then other places won't. Like when I was working in that chippy for a brief time, there was like certain people would come in and ask for ones with the skin on still, but most of the time, like if you just ask for fish and chips, would take the skin off.
I kind of, that's how I'd want it, but this one didn't, and I think it sort of put us off it. But even then, I wasn't a massive fan of it anyways.
When I was a kid, I used to hate chicken skin, and I was always like, oh, it's the best part, and I'm like, you're fucking lying. I quite like duck. It's probably one of my favourite meats at the minute, and fucking duck skin, dude, is delicious.
Is it?
Like, duck fat as well. Like, they've got, like, the ones of it, it's just the frozen ones you get from farm food. You whack it in the oven for 40 minutes. But it's got, like, the skin on the top, and then like between the skin and the meat there's like this sort of thin layer of fat across the whole thing, and it's fucking so good, dude. I would heavily recommend it to anyone.
Do you know what is? I'm not really that into duck. Duck is one of them where like I don't mind it, but I prefer chicken hands down, so I'll just go for chicken.
Really?
Aye.
Nah, I much prefer duck. I do like chicken. I would like if someone say, "Oh yeah, there's a fucking roast chicken tuck in," I definitely will. But if someone was like, "Oh, do you want some chicken or do you want some duck?" I'll take the duck.
No, I'd say something else I was wanting to talk about. I don't know if you've ever had this situation before. Have you ever been on the phone and someone else is there with you in person and they're just telling you what to say on the phone? Or they keep interrupting, going, say this, say this. I hate it.
Right, I've done it to you a couple of times as well, where you've been on the phone to someone that we're both raging at.
I think that kind of gets a pass, and I'm not just saying it because you, but there was this distinctive time, like I think I had to get like public liability insurance or something with us being self-employed, right? And like I had an email off like the shop fitting company I was working for. They were sort of like, you need public liability insurance. I was like, right. So I got insured for like up to the cost of £1 million. I don't need more than £1 million. I'm not like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to accidentally drive an aeroplane into a fucking a heavily fucking busy shopping centre or something. Like, it's not going to happen. I don't need over £1 million. And then like I told like my uncle who I was working for, and I just didn't understand. He was like, oh, you need insured for 10 million. I'm like, no, I don't. He was like, you do. You need insured for 10 million. You need insured for 10 million. And I was looking through the email saying like I needed public liability insurance. So I, like off the like the woman in the office or the company I was working for. I was like, it doesn't even specify an amount, yeah? So millions enough? He was like, no, I need 10 million, no, I need 10 million. And I was like, well, even if so, you could have said that before I sorted me public liability insurance out. So I rang in to cancel it, right? And like, I was on the phone to the bloke and he was going, and I was sort of speaking to the bloke, he kept saying, say this, say this, say this. And I'm just like, I kind of concentrate on what I'm saying because you're interrupting that much. And even the bloke on the phone was saying, like, who am I speaking to, yeah? And I was like, well, I'm on your side, yeah. So I had to cancel it and get insured for 10 million elsewhere or something. And I was waiting ages for me refund because you pay it annually. And I was just like, fucking, it just annoyed us so much, dude. And I don't know why people do it.
It is a piss take, like.
Because like if you're sort of like speaking to someone, it seems as rude if someone just come up and be like, oh, say this to him, say this to him. Like you would be like, it would be so classed as rude if you'd done that. So why do people do it when you're on the fucking phone?
Yeah, nah.
I'm not one of them, way, unless it is like a deeply private thing. I don't walk off on the phone, like if I'm not bothered about who can I'll just do it. Because it makes it suspicious, because like I've got one of my mates, he's one of them where he goes on the phone and like he pure walks off and then he's sort of like that. If you sort of come up to him, he's sort of like that, as in say like, I'm on the phone, don't come near us. And I'm like, are you planning armed robbery or something? Like, fucking calm down. You know what I mean? So I'm not one of them people, but I like, it just annoys us so much.
It is mad. Like I've kind of always gone away on the phone, but mainly because like if I'm standing around family and my friends ring, I don't know what they're gonna fucking say, and what I'm gonna have to respond on the phone, and sometimes I don't want my family hearing that shit. Or if it's the other way around and I'm with my friends and my family rings, like when we're kids and that, and someone's ma rings and that, you stop, oh yeah, pass the crack pipe and that. So your parents get you in trouble when you're in home and that.
Aye, right. Oh, dude, and it's one thing proper gets me gripe up as well. People that toot outside or let someone know that they're outside.
Yeah.
It's not the 90s anymore. Like people, you like just text them or ring them to let them know.
Aye.
I sort of understand. It's like one of them, thingy. But do you know when they do it again? I'm like, well, fucking, but get out your fucking car, you lazy. You're that lazy. Just get out your car and knock on the door, then, you idiot.
Right.
It probably winds us up.
You've met Connor's older brother, haven't you?
Aye.
Well, you know, he's a pure raging cunt like over anything.
Aye.
Like Connor's mate came to pick him up for band practice one time. Connor was like in the bath because his mate came like an hour early or something.
Aye.
And he's sitting outside like keep tooting the horn every 5 minutes, and I just went out, opened the car door and went, do you want to fuck off?
I right, well you would, wouldn't you?
Right.
This is exactly my point. Do you not think if he could just be bothered to get out of the car, knock on the door, or he's in the bath, then you know that it doesn't matter how many times you toot the horn, he's not gonna be with you until he's out of the bath, dried, ready, and then physically leaves the house.
For the first time you beep, if he's not out in a couple of minutes, go knock on the fucking door. But even now, like you say, you don't even have to beep, just fucking text him. You know what I mean? And if he's not answering, then knock on the door.
Exactly. Like, I generally think there's no reason to toot your horn to let someone know you're outside anymore.
No,
because it's the same outcome. Like, if someone doesn't answer when you ring, you knock. Which is sort of option 2 if you toot. You don't even have to toot anyways. If you're ringing the answer, oh yeah, I'm outside.
Exactly, aye. And that's not, like, most people don't even knock on the door now. Like, when Ant comes round or whatever, he doesn't knock. He'll, like, text us saying I'm outside when he's actually, like, 2 doors down or whatever. So I've got, like, by the time I walk down the stairs, he's coming in the gate.
Like, even now, like, you've got hands free, I can just be like, hey Siri, call Lord Farquaad. You can just do that and let them know, just like, I'm going to be outside your house in like 2 minutes. I'm just pulling into your street now. There's no excuse to toot your horn to let people know that you're outside anymore.
Quite a few people that beep round here. Like, sometimes me neighbours, like sons or daughters will come and pick them up and they'll toot when they're outside, or like sometimes the people at the shops next door will be fucking getting picked up and someone will toot and fucking let them know they're there. So I just assume it's for someone else. I never think it's going to be for me. It's just not a good tactic to get a hold of us.
Well, everyone, this has been Wise Fools episode 4. Thanks for sticking around, everyone. I'm Nath from the Wise Fools, joined with Griff.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode and fucking we'll probably catch you next week around the same time.